It's hard to make a choice, especially when it comes to this question. What do you want to do with your life? For one, you have to give up something. Then you have to actually choose something else and go with it. No second guessing, no turning back. This is celebrated around the world too. Books like So Good They Can't Ignore You and Outliers, they put this idea into your head that you gotta choose. And that better be one thing. The author of Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell, talks about 10,000 hour rule. It's based on Anders Ericsson's research, where he compares top violinists to okay violinists. The main difference are the hours of deliberate practice, and those hours amount to 10,000 hours, which approximates to 10 years, which almost sounds like a lifetime. And the same Malcolm Gladwell, in a recent interview, said that your talent and the tools you're using matter. This and many more variables can actually decrease the time spent perfecting your skill. But that's beside the point. The main point is this. One feels paralyzed by the fact that one has to choose among many. Call it a paradox of choice or refusal to adult, it's there. I don't know about you, but this feeling keeps me awake at night. And recently, I even had to excuse myself from work as physical symptoms of anxiety intensified. I couldn't stop crying. And what was it all for? Because I couldn't choose? Or because I was afraid of choosing? Now, I will explore the second question in another universe, because the first one requires more love and care. As every sensible person in mid-20s, I wanted to find out what to do with my life. For that, I turned to reliable scientific sources. I booked my first astrology session. My reader, she was supposed to tell me what I was supposed to do with my life. Instead, she said I was good at flirting and moving countries. And moving countries is how I was going to earn money, among my best locations being Budapest, Osaka, and Chicago. Now, I knew the whole moving thing before this lady opened her mouth, since I'm such an astrology aficionado. I wanted her to tell me what to do with my life, and all she said was, I'm good with my hands and my throat. I wasn't sure how to interpret this information though. So, not having been satisfied, I turned to another expert. This time it was a YouTuber, Healthy Gamer GG. He was talking about mind types in Ayurveda, that is Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Pitta minds, for example, do one thing, get it done, and move to the next challenge. Kapha minds start slow, but when they get going, nothing can stop them. Vata minds, on the other hand, learn quickly and forget quickly. They need a constant stream of stimulation, which in turn means that these people should rather work on multiple projects, juggling them as they get bored. No surprise, out of these minds, I identified most with Vata. And it was liberating. That's me, I thought. That's why I cannot choose, and apparently I don't have to choose. I can do it all. But then, another thought emerged. Maybe it's not my true nature. Maybe I became a Vata mind because I overstimulated myself with technology. And isn't everyone like that? So, puzzled more than ever, I turned to fiction. The Midnight Library, to be exact. It's a book about a suicidal woman named Nora, who actually commits suicide but manages to taste death and get one more chance at life. She finds herself in this place called Midnight Library. It's full of her books, or rather, her lives she could have lived had she made different choices. Now, all these lives are real, and she can choose which life she'd like to explore more. Mind you, she's better at making decisions than I am, so turning to the Book of Regrets, she goes through the biggest ones first. She travels many lives and experiences many versions of herself, with varying degrees of success, wealth, and happiness. And as romantic as it sounds, she chooses to go back to and fix her first life, the one in which she committed suicide. After her cat died, by the way. Yes, I told the ending, and it doesn't matter, because the book is amazing and you should get yourself one. I remember finishing the story and looking at the ceiling for like 12 minutes straight, with watery eyes and book on my chest, holding it closer and closer as if it was a living thing ready to pierce through my skin. I felt relieved and hopeful, because now I was aware of all other versions of me and all other lives we got to live. This time, not bitter at opportunities lost and chances not taken, but proud of the courage and effort it took and still takes all me's to live the lives we chose to live. And yet, I was good here, just like Nora. The last drop was Ali Abdal's recent deep dive podcast with a psychology professor, Richard Wiseman, about career, money, and magic. Ali seeks advice on the balance between passion and making money. And Richard says something along this line: do your passion, do what you enjoy, do what engages you, and earn just enough money to continue doing that thing. And one day, what you think is your passion might not interest you anymore. Then you stop doing that thing and move on to the next. And there was I thinking, why do I do this to myself? Why do I overthink this? Why do I have to make a decision now? Whether I choose something or many things or none at all, it shouldn't affect my whole life. It's just a small chapter out of many chapters to come, hopefully. Thanks, Ali Abdal's newsletter. Apparently I'm a big fan of his. I was thankful for all the things I learned, and now it was time to look inwards. First off, I decided to judge myself less. Maybe Healthy Gamer GG is right, and there is such a thing as a vata mind, and my mind is like that. Therefore I should work with it instead of resisting its nature. Maybe, just maybe, I don't really have to choose. Maybe it's time to explore now. Then at some point in future it will be time to exploit, as James Clear put it. Secondly, I kind of made peace with where I am now. Back in university I was very adamant about not wanting to work, so universe responded with the gift of 4 months long anxious job search, and yes, you should be careful what you wish for. At some point I tricked the universe into thinking that I was joking, so in October I will celebrate my 4th year at my current company. In Sally Rooney's Normal People, this character called Marianne, whom I like very much, asks Joanna if she finds it strange to be paid for her hours at work, to exchange, in other words, blocks of her extremely limited time on this earth for the human invention known as money. To which Joanna responds, "You're not working, okay, but the time is passing for you too. You'll never get it back either." To which Marianne responds, "But I can decide what I do with it." So, I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather be Marianne in this situation, but matter-of-factly, I'm Joanna, and that's okay. Because I like being Joanna at this point of time. It gives me freedom to explore, freedom to live comfortably, freedom to tend to the needs and wants of people I love. Thirdly, you can always strive for more. Being Joanna doesn't mean you have to stay Joanna. You can be your best self, possibly. And it should come from a place of self-acceptance, not self-affirmation, as discussed in The Courage to be Disliked. You shouldn't say things like, "I'm assertive," when you are the most agreeable person you'll ever know. Maybe it would feel better to accept yourself as you are and still take many steps to become more assertive than you were a day before. Same goes for the "I want it all" brain. Maybe it's time to explore how it feels to work on one goal. Maybe you should stick to it for more than a week. I'm talking about myself, of course. Set a deadline for your goal, and by the end of it ask yourself how it felt and whether you want to pursue that same goal or it's time to move to another one. Because it's okay to move to another one. Because nobody cares, and you shouldn't either. Now, I still grapple with this question I posed in the beginning of this video. Even at work, during lunch break of course, I find myself googling how to choose among your many passions. But then my coworker comes up to me and asks if I'd like to have some coffee. It's his second cup by now and it's only 10 a.m. and I'm teasing him for it. Then I forget all about the search and move on with my day.